Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the good, the bad, and the delirious. I'm your host, Paddo, and what a game we had this beautiful Sunday. It was a shootout in Dallas as Arike tries to set records. Kelsey Mitchell is consistently great, and Clark almost drops another 30 bomb. Let's get into it. As is tradition, we give our opponents props where it is due here on the GBD. In the game of matchups in the WNBA, the Wings are a tough opponent for the Fever because they can run with us. Their bigs are tough matchup for AB and crew, and they can shoot the lights out. And speaking of shooting the lights out, Arike does Arike things. She was almost out there setting a three-pointer record, had 34 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and was 9 of 16 from three land. Absolutely a monster. Also out there, Satu Sabali started cold but had a third quarter blitz, had 25 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and was 4 from 9 from 3, but had a sequence where she hit 3 back to back, and it was brutal. I gotta give props to JC Sheldon. Honestly, one of the MVPs on defense, and she only had 8 points, 3 steals, 4 assists, and was a menace on defense on Clark. Her hustle looked like prime Lexi Hull fighting for everything, and she's just annoying, just challenging Clark on every rebound. But this is just a great example of her staying in front of Clark and forcing a turnover. As we have it, you can see Sheldon already starts with a hand on Clark's hip, and she's just gonna shuffle and walk her up the court, make her switch hands, pass out to Mitchell. She's gonna go under the screen quickly, but then fight over this screen, turn Clark from the inside, then Clark's gonna make a mistake, bounces off her foot there. Sheldon immediately to the floor, pass out to her team, and they're off to the races. And this is the kind of play where it just wears you down, and it forces it will get players like Caitlin Clark to make a mistake. And Sheldon did it a couple times this game, and she deserves all the props. She's done it since her college days against Clark, and she's doing it here in the WNBA. Now, everyone's favorite part, hopefully, we dive into the good. The Fever have back-to-back 100-point games, moved to 6th seed in the WNBA, and their offense looks almost unstoppable. And the reason for that is that Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark are the best backcourt in the WNBA, and why the Fever might win it all. Kelsey Mitchell is insanely efficient. 36 points tonight on 54.5% shooting while being 5 for 7 from 3. That is absolutely mind-bogglingly good numbers from her. She said tonight she knows what it's like to be in the bottom, and she's not going back. And with these kind of performances that she's racking up, I believe it. Caitlin Clark tonight had 28 points on 52.6% shooting, 5 for 11 from 3, including an amazing pair of back-to-back threes in the fourth quarter. And really, I just love to see the patience from her, even despite Sheldon finding openings like this one to Nalissa Smith. And now Nalissa Smith actually giving it back to Clark on the other end, like the plays that normally Clark facilitates, now she's a part of. And, you know, if she can find a little bit of space, there's that beautiful floater that we see. And in other times, there's the back door. Again, another thing that we see Clark facilitating normally. Now she gets a little bit of space, pop, shoot, 3, and then she's feeling herself. I think that was the second 3 of the game. And then here's the back-to-back ones right there. Sheldon loses her, drains it, and then the next one just gets a little bit of space, shoots it on the move, bang. And she took a heat check after that unfortunately didn't go in. I almost lost my mind, but man, these two players are playing out of their minds good. Other player shoutouts go to, of course, Lexi Hull, who is playing with so much confidence, and look at this pull-up jumper. So clean, so beautiful. She did with 6 points, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and 4 assists. Great contributions. Let's keep her in that starting lineup. Nalissa Smith, again, had a lot of energy tonight, sinking buckets, but also having some great defensive contributions. She had 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks on the night. Good job, Nalissa Smith. Love to see you turn it around. And then AB. AB had a rough day at the office. The Wings are focusing on her and making her job tough offensively. And despite some errors, I want to give props to AB for a great defensive play just in general, including this sequence right here, where you can see the ball gets put out to Natasha Howard, who tries to drive her down, but AB just keeps her feet, keeps great position, and eventually actually gets her on the travel there and forces a turnover for the Fever. And just good positioning all around from AB, and just always making it hard on the opposing team's bigs. I don't think she gets enough credit for that, honestly. And of course, on the good, we gotta talk about the highlights. And oh my gosh, was there a highlight reel in this game? Let's just roll the tape. Look at this one. Arike gonna brick the shot, gonna bounce off. Clark gonna come up the court. One-handed pass to Kelsey Mitchell to behind the back to Alyssa Smith. It's so nice. We gotta watch it twice. You know it. Oh my gosh, this is just a culmination of everything great about what the Fever have been building towards, and you gotta love it. This play right here, Kelsey Mitchell, she's gonna fake, she's gonna shake, and she's gonna bake, and she's gonna take that 2-pointer. Probably was a double dribble, but it was so nice. And right here, Clark, waiting seconds of the third quarter, throws up. Might have been a foul, but look at Temmie with the last second put in to bring it to 70. And this inbound play, insane. Beats Sheldon off the back, and this a quick jump ball, and Kelsey Mitchell gonna come down. The Dallas Wings are gonna lose her, and you don't leave Kelsey Mitchell open in the fourth quarter, and that is just the beginning of the end for the Wings as the Fever take it home. Ooh, so delicious for the Fever tonight. Now for the bad, it's kind of obvious. It should be obvious, but it's turnovers. Turnovers were why this game was so close, and this is the second game in a span of 3 games where the Fever have had 20 turnovers. The Fever gave up 24 points on those turnovers. 24. If the Fever want to make a run, they're going to have to clean this stuff up, because some of these were just some of it's players tired, some of it was good defense, some of it was some weird foul calls, which we'll get into in a little bit. But we really got to do better if we're going to want to beat some of the better teams, especially to make a run for the championship. Next up on the bad, I don't want to say this is necessarily a Fever problem, but it's a trend that I'm seeing in the WNBA of like most teams struggle with this or get got by this, and really it's basically just like the feed and then back out to the 3. And you can see that multiple times during this game, Lexi Hall and the Fever got caught on this, and it happens a lot to the Aces. It's one of their weaknesses against the Lynx, and then so on and so forth. But just take a look at this. So in this case, Sheldon's going to bring the ball up, and they're going to pass the ball around and eventually look to feed the post. And once it's into the post, Lexi Hall gets caught going down, and Sabali's just going to nail the 3. And this happened multiple times, is whenever the ball kind of gets into that post, teams want to collapse. They want to be aggressive. And if that post player just sends it right back out to a good 3-point shooter, especially if they're hot like Sati was at the start of the third quarter, then like you're just in the money. And hopefully the Fever can stay a little bit more disciplined in those scenarios. Now it's time for the Delirious, and this is just the weird things that happen during the games, the questions I still have, observations, sometimes ugly stuff. But really, this harkens back to, I made an earlier video, go check it out, that talks about Cheryl Swoops not being on the broadcast. And although I don't have audio of it, shout out to Cynthia Cooper and the broadcast team. But it was very obvious that they were like, let's put all the effort into heaping praise onto Caitlin Clark. Nancy's on the broadcast even be like at me if you wanna argue with me over who's rookie of the year. And it feels like the league is sending a very clear message to that, like, hey, like we're fully behind Caitlin Clark, so talk about it or step to the side. And Swoops definitely would not have fit the vibe tonight, so happy she wasn't on the broadcast.
When I walked in here before the game, there were just hundreds of fans lined up.
Oh yeah.
What Caitlin Clark has done for the game is generational, and I just, as a baller to a baller, I just want to say thank you to you, Caitlin Clark.
Absolutely.
For just lifting our game up, you and so many great players. But what you're doing, you're going to make all these women multimillionaires one day, like Tiger did, like Michael Jordan did, and we shouldn't hate on her. We should celebrate her, not tolerate her.
All right, the next Delirious is going to be composure, and I can show you the exact moment where the Wings actually lost the game. And at this point, it's like the third quarter, and Arike is just like, she is on fire, and she's lighting us up. And then she gets a foul. And of course, players never think that it's their fault and it's a bad call. But you can see in this play, Arike steps forward, goes underneath Kelsey Mitchell's feet, and just holds there. And clearly prevents the landing, gets a flagrant. But after this point, like, everybody starts wiling on the Wings, and they lose their composure. They're complaining about every foul call in the business. The coach is complaining. And from that point on, you see a change. Arike isn't in her flow state anymore, and the team isn't firing all cylinders. And eventually, even though they hang with the Fever and their mistakes, they play some good defense, the Fever eventually pull away and win it. But I think that was the key moment, because before that point, Arike was in like all-star prime. You can just give her the ball and she's gonna sink the basket wherever she's shooting from. And that point like got in her head and got the team off the page. So a big moment in the game. Next up, it's fouls, just because there's so many times where fouls happen in these WNBA games that are clearly not fouls, and I don't know what's going on. So let's just look at a few of them because it's fun. And the first one's going to be Tevi. So Tevi swipes across. They say that it was an elbow. Obviously, Tevi's elbows are far above Howard's head, and she just takes the flop, gets the call. This one is AB, and you see AB doesn't even touch Natasha Howard here. Doesn't even touch her. You can watch this replay. Watch out. There's like actual distance between Aaliyah Boston and Natasha. Doesn't touch her at all. Still gets a foul. And this one, we're gonna go to the final one. It's gonna be Aaliyah Boston in the key. Now watch the ref. The ref starts counting the 3 seconds of the key before Aaliyah Boston's even in it, and even when she's outside of it, they still call the 3 seconds in the key and get her. And it's like what are they like? Look how fast this 3 seconds starts. She's outside the key and they're already starting. Now she starts to work in the key. She steps out and they're still counting, and they get her as she's trying to pass across the key. It's just like I don't know. They hopefully in the off season again, we can send all this footage to the league, and they can make their program about how to get a better refs in the WNBA, because all the teams deserve it. All the teams get frustrated by it. It's not just a Fever thing, and hopefully it changes. That's it for the good, the bad, and delirious. I'm happy the Fever were able to take down a Wings team that, despite their record, is incredibly dangerous for us. Next up are the Sparks this Wednesday, so I will see you all then. Please leave a like and subscribe. This is a new channel for me, so every little bit helps. And leave a comment down below. What was your favorite moment of the game? What did I miss? And remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing.